So we will move on to our colleague João Vieira Santos, who will make his next presentation. So before handing the floor to João Vieira Santos, I would like to briefly introduce him. João holds a PhD from the Law School of the University of Oporto in Portugal, where he has submitted his thesis on the regulation of Fintech, in particular crowdfunding. Since 2018, João has worked as a legal advisor for CMVM, the Portuguese securities regulator, and he will be addressing the, I may say, perhaps crucial issue of the challenges of imposing requirements to offerers of crypto assets. Is this at all possible, João?
Thank you so much.
The floor is yours.
Are you hearing me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank the scientific committee, so Professors Dário Moura Vicente, Diogo Pereira Duarte, and Catarina Grandeiro, for inviting me. And I also would like to congratulate them for this international conference. I've been here since the beginning, and I learned a lot from people whose work I admire. In my presentation, I'd like to share some thoughts about the topic in which I changed my mind. So I suppose that's a good thing, and I will try to share that process with you. In the beginning, of my presentation, I would like to clarify the scope of it. First, the challenges to cover an unregulated space, so I will cover only crypto assets that are not qualified as financial instruments. As you know, financial instruments already have their regulation, and crypto assets that are not financial instruments are still waiting for regulation. And I will focus more in terms of proposals for regulation in MiCA, for several reasons. First of all, because today might be a crucial day for MiCA. We might have a political agreement. Also because it's more important for us as EU citizens. And the most important thing is that the American bill that is being discussed does not cover offers of crypto assets that are not qualified as financial instruments. It only covers offerings of ancillary assets of securities. So, as I stated before, that's not the scope of my presentation. To start, it's important to know why we need to regulate offers of crypto assets. First of all, asymmetric information. There's one side, the offerers that have much more information than the others, investors. So offerers can take serious advantages in relation to investors. This links with investor protection, so the investors will not enter in this space if they don't feel that's a space that have safety, and they will not be victim of fraud. So to have that safety, it's important to ensure transparency and quality of information. So the objective is not to eliminate all risks to the investors. So naturally, investment implies risk-taking, but it's important to ensure a fair space for them, to ensure this transparency and quality of information, and leave it out the acceptable risks for the market of crypto assets. This sounds a bit repetitive in relation to one presentation in the morning that was of Hugo Moreira dos Santos about the licensing principle in capital markets, and that's my point. We need to regulate them because they have the same issues as financial markets. So the public interest here at stake is the efficiency of these markets, of crypto assets markets, and to ensure public confidence and transparency in this market. That's why it makes sense to get some inspiration from the financial markets regulation, but notwithstanding, there's also some specificities in the crypto assets market that entails some challenges that I will talk about. First of all, of course, speed and global nature is the first thought that comes to us when we think of the crypto asset markets as a challenge to regulation, because it will be difficult because of these characteristics. It will be difficult to enforce regulation. Legal classification of crypto assets, it's a very complex topic. Already a lot of people talk about it now. Professor Filippo Annunziata also talks about this as a problem of MiCA. MiCA also has a serious concern related to this, and also because the projects are very diverse. Offers of crypto assets are very creative, and they have their own tokenomics and their own configuration of each crypto asset. In relation to MiCA, I think there are mainly two problems. First of all, when that legal classification is decided, that could be, like Professor Filippo Annunziata said, there could be a reclassification of a crypto asset, and also to have diverse legal classifications between member states, not only jurisdictions from the US and Asian, but also in the EU. Between member states we have different definitions of what is a security, and that problem is a very serious one, and that cannot be solved in MiCA because the definition of a security is in MiFID. Also, the different purpose. Of course, this was not the approach of MiCA to try to include purpose. MiCA, of course, tried to find the purpose, but in an indirect way, and I think it was a nice solution, an elegant solution. But there is the problem of seeing if there is a consumer or financial purpose. Normally there are both, but to see if there is a primarily one is a difficult task. Normally we say this inspiration for financial markets it's because we saw that crypto assets and investors are primarily worried about having return of their investment and not of their consumer actions. But even so, the crypto asset market is a heterogeneous place, and law, as you know, is general and abstract. There's also a last challenge that is also very important, that is to guarantee a sustainable market, so to include also ESG factors in the regulation of this market. So to see what could be the solution for these challenges, I will try to speak about some examples. One that is paradigmatic, and maybe it was the reason why I changed my mind, is the French optional regime. So the French legislators tried to address ICOs with some regulation, but they wanted to be optional. The AMF wrote a very comprehensible paper about it to justify this regime, and they were justifying the optional regime because of these challenges to regulate ICOs. So they highlighted the global scope, so it would be difficult to have a national regime that could be enforced, and also the innovative part that could be strangled by regulation. But the results were not very, I don't know how to say it, but very impressive, because there were only 3 ICOs that were registered in this optional regime. So we have, I don't know, hundreds of ICOs that were launched in France that were not registered. They have also a blacklist, and you could see that it's full of ICOs. Also, the service providers of crypto assets, they have also an optional regime for it, and they have 0 service providers registered, only for the AML, that is a mandatory regime from a European directive, and then they have like 30 entities, but none of them were included in or decided to be in this optional regime also for service providers. So I found at the time very interesting this proposal of the French legislator. I thought that might result, because the same reasons, because this is an innovative space that needs flexibility. But what we saw is, maybe what my guesses are, that offerers, service providers don't want to be in a regime that the others do not choose, do not apply. This is related also to a thing that was mentioned in the morning. Nuno Sapateiro spoke that these clients wanted to be in the exemptions, and in the financial space, in the financial sector, is always like this. Their market players want to circumvent the law, and they don't want to operate in a space in which there is no mandatory regime for everyone, so a level playing field for everyone, and so not to have free riders, and to have a regime that ensures that trust for everyone, so that we know all the authorized players, and we know that an authority can pursue who is not complying. MiCA's approach is also flexible, so MiCA worries also about flexibility, and try to include ex-ante notification. So Professor Filippo Annunziata already told us that the regime for offerers is not mandatory. There is no authorization. So there is an ex-ante notification only, and my question is, will legal certainty be ensured? If Professor Filippo Annunziata already spoke about a serious issue that could be reclassification of the legal status of a crypto asset, but also if an offer advances, and it could be fraudulent, and the authority didn't not see it. Investors will not know if it's everything okay with the compliance of MiCA. So it will provide some uncertainty, at least, for these markets. That's why, for all these reasons, that I think now that a prior authorization regime is essential in MiCA and to offers of crypto assets to ensure this trust in the financial system, so to ensure what offers are authorized, what an authority thinks, and what was its assessment of the offer, and this will be essential also for the efficiency of the crypto assets markets. Also, exemptions are important to ensure proportionality, so those problems to see what is a crypto asset for consumption and for investment. So MiCA has that, and that's a good approach to have exemptions in terms of proportionality, so in terms of the size of the offer, in terms of if the offer is of utility tokens, so it's guaranteed that is for consumption, and also to face the challenges of the global nature and the speed of the crypto asset market. It's essential to have international cooperation. So the solutions, it only can be international cooperation, and also the advancements in technology for authorities, so can they be fast in authorizations and in the enforcement. It was also stated in the morning by Nuno Sapateiro. And also, not only Subtech, but also RegTech, we see in the prospectus world that law firms already have systems that automate the process to do a prospectus, so the process is already very fast in law firms and also in the authority. So the experience in MiCA, in the beginning it might be difficult, but with some experience it will be very fast to have a white paper and to have a white paper authorized. So my final conclusion is that flexibility might not be the problem here. There could be other solutions, and to have an authorization regime is essential in any financial market. So thank you.